may throw every one of our ideas out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And in that case, we'll get tossed into another group.
or bag it.
Or bag it, yeah.
Or do it,
Start
or
our
just
own.
do it, start our own.
Yeah.
The group of 5.
A group that
Well,
supersedes.
that's it. Here's
the
what I'm
Sunday
gonna
group.
really think
Today
about
it's the
this.
man, tomorrow the world. Right. We'll do the RNA of creativity.
The
Or the
argument.
TNA of
There you go. The TNA of creativity.
TNA came first. TNA came first.
Uh-oh.
3-nucleic acid. Or PNA, peptide nucleic acid.
I don't think we were thinking of a different TNA.
TNA.
I think the Rolling Stones did that.
I think so. I've got a very literal mind.
All right, well, let's do that the next time.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, I might call you a few times on this idea
All right,
in the
okay.
next couple days.
Yeah, I'll listen to you too.
Yeah, okay.
You know,
I'll put it on the board.
about the Mars play, though,
Go
we
to
had some
that thing
ideas
and
about
click on
that.
some of those things I did and
See,
look at them and
I
say,
think the
well,
big
I
thing-
wouldn't do it
well,
that
fast
way, you know.
is-
Well, no,
I think
see,
this is more important or
You
whatever.
showed me this once before, parts of this, too. You know, I think it might have been at John's gallery or something we were looking at. Because I remember, you know, that.
I wanted to talk more about the Mars play, too.
Okay,
Because
we've got time to say
your big objection to that was the idea that science kills creativity. And
No, not
No.
creativity.
science fiction. In general.
Science kills science fiction in
And
general.
I'm saying it only kills a certain kind. That it is dependent on a human livable Mars. But the whole point of the play is the effect it has on those kind of Martians.
Right.
Right.
Well,
I see.
the thing that I was intrigued about is that that's just a very specific idea right there.
Yeah.
That kind of science fiction.
Yeah.
And you left in the play the possibility that there could be some other kind of
Yeah,
science fiction,
I'm gonna rewrite
some other kind of reality.
Maybe some sense of
Well, but
reality.
Jonathan had an idea that
Of the vector.
the vector idea, yeah, that we could use tonescape as a kind of projection thing where you choose your vector and just
And you wouldn't even
wander
have to call
off
it
into a different-
tonescape or anything.
No, I'm just trying to think, because,
This thing's got vectors all over it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it does. Yeah.
well,
What's your thought on that, John?
I'm not quite sure what you mean.
Well, the idea.
Okay, yeah, some of the rewriting I was going to do in the first act, instead of just interviewing the commander, interview his crew. Why are they doing this? What's their vision of Mars? And then some of this, a little bit of discussion about the syllogism deal, which is basically you're vectoring off using a different set of logical axioms.
Uh-huh.
But that doesn't fit in the second act very well at all. That sort of lays the groundwork. Why is there alternative realities in fiction, but not in reality? Because we know what Mars is really like. But the thing that always kind of intrigued me is, what happens to all these fictional Martians when their particular universe, their set of axioms can no longer apply? Because they start writing these stories. H.G. Wells wrote these stories and everything. Because of Percival Lowell, everybody thought Mars was just like the Earth, only drier, and
Right.
they built all the canals to bring water in. That appears as late as the Martian Chronicles by Brad
Bradley,
Radcliffe,
yeah.
which I need to refer to. But we now know that's not the case, and people who write books about Mars now write about red Mars, green Mars, or terraforming Mars,
Right.
turning Mars into a second Earth, which I think has some more than just engineering problems in it. But I think the idea that, one thing I toss out, which I just came up with, is that, that writers don't necessarily invent, they discover. That these other realities that exist in some sort of library space,
Right, they're out there
and they're just
somewhere.
it's a Platonic version of literature. All possible books actually exist. Writers only select them. And I can certainly work on that idea. And maybe I can toss it in at the end, when the commander says, look, you guys, quit hallucinating and thinking you're in library space. Get to work, and I can do that if that would make you feel better about it. And we can certainly have a little cadence and, or byplay between the two people. But the real dramatic peak of this thing is when the Martians discover they no longer can exist. At least is that the way I conceived it.
Right. Because the Earthlings.
Because they're on Mars, and they've essentially taken over Mars's reality. It's no longer Barsoom, it's now Mars.
Right, the Earth version of Mars.
Yeah.
Or the Earth vision of Mars.
It's the scientific vision of Mars, if you want to put it that way.
But my thinking is that the universe is so bizarre that
Well,
how do we know that Barsoom doesn't really exist?
oh yeah, I mean,
You know, maybe it is on Mars,
If
but
it's
just-
logically possible,
You know.
it not only exists, it exists an infinite number of times.
Right.
Right,
And I can toss that in, but I just don't want to get too wordy.
right.
I'm not writing, I want to write a drama, not a philosophical tract.
But I think the big thing was that we didn't want to just leave it closed off, kind of the way it is. You know what I mean? I understand it was just a short radio play,
Yeah,
so
I mean, there's something.
it comes to a very definite kind of conclusion.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking maybe we want to open it up a little bit more.
Well,
Yeah.
Well, I
leave
can,
it a little
I can
open.
certainly have, a Martian or even one of the crew members discuss the possibility that, Mars and some sort of our infinite universe, Barsoom really exists. I can do that if you'd like that, and you can always write appropriate music.
Yeah.
What's interesting about it though is what you're trying to do is transform a particular belief
Yeah.
with certain facts, we'll say facts, that are based, on physical evidence as opposed to facts, we'll call, that are not based on physical evidence.
Well, from the point of
And
view,
the physical evidence is more orderly and basically overrides the ones that are not orderly and not based on physical.
yeah, I mean,
Well, it conforms to the scientific method. I think that's the big
the
thing.
axioms that would describe from which you could derive Barsoom are not those of our universe. But the Martians, of course, believe that they're real.
If you could take your story
Yeah.
and turn it into a better science fiction, show how a new science fiction overwrites
there you
the
go.
old science fiction, and come up with a more interesting science fiction that
wasn't based on
negates-
100 years.
Or maybe not more
science.
interesting, but more appropriate
more
to
appropriate to today.
today, right?
Well,
Yeah,
you,
to the
he's got an
science
idea.
that-
I
about
think
that
that's a good
already.
idea, John. I think
Yeah,
we
Yeah.
should
but I'm
consider
just
it.
trying to think, well, okay, except that,
John, you were telling me about going back in the library and picking out these things from the 80s that they didn't have the technology to, refurbish and do, and these old ideas are coming new research on old ideas. Remember you mentioned that?
no.
You were saying that you had gone into the library and there was some papers that,
You need
of
two hands.
discarded
Yeah, that's a
science,
tough one.
discarded science
You
that,
Good
kind of
stuff.
curve the
Yeah.
knife as you go down.
you were talking about discarded science that was considered shelved at one point, and then you're pulling them off the shelves and looking at it.
Yeah,
again
there just weren't the
through
techniques to really study the questions.
Yeah,
People raised questions they really couldn't get anywhere on them.
anywhere, plateaued out and, be,
Is this
I have to
leather
go
or is this cheese?
You may be just cutting the rind,
No,
No,
I took the rind
you
out.
took the
Here's the
rind.
rind right here.
I
Right?
need
There's a motion to it, look.
Well, I mean, it's
I got
hard,
it from John.
No, I'm just throwing that
See, the
out.
knife
I'm
on
just trying to avoid
It's a
writing,
one-sided blade,
Yeah, right.
rewriting Red Mars, Green
Put
Mars.
it in there,
No.
Yeah.
kind of
Or
curve
Phil Hartman's a strawberry. There's lots of stories about terraforming Mars,
I don't think
or
you have to.
or
read
what
that.
happens in Mars after it's been terraformed, and basically, it's a second Earth.
Well,
It's not Mars anymore. It's except for some obvious problems of living on the frontier. I just don't find them terribly interesting anymore.
I think, you've got enough there to pull out a dynamic piece, and I think that, here's my thoughts, and this is just my 2 cents, is that
Okay.
your a disagreement, okay, can be brought out in that piece. And that might be the real payoff of this piece, is that, your idea of kiboshing science fiction with science. And this is what
Well, I view that
this
as
is what
I view that as somewhat of a tragedy, actually.
there's a good article in
And I don't know if maybe I should try to bring that in. I mean,
Yeah.
it's very sad
but
that we can no longer make the willing suspension of disbelief.
there's
right.
a wonderful article
I like
on the
that.
internet about
It's not original.
the love affair between science and science fiction,
Yeah.
and that relationship throughout history is, and it,
Yeah, I think that was a real good idea. what
she
you just said.
documents that in a very long. I have to go fairly soon, but I was going to just throw out one thing for this project too. Is you're all familiar with Nietzsche, I'm sure, and
Somewhat.
Nietzsche is preaching.
and the will to a system, right?
Yeah,
I mean-
And what?
The will to a system.
I think it's more will to power.
Well, I'm doing a pun on that.
Oh, okay, sorry.
but the interesting thing that's happened now philosophically in postmodernism is that there's become a thirst again for, we've denied structure for 15, 20 years. We've gone against structure.
Yeah, it's sort of.
In the art world, yeah.
No, in history and a lot of things, a lot of fields have taken up the tone, you know what I mean? But
Not people who are intellectually responsible.
no, extremely responsible people. How about Strauss? I mean, he was one of the first guys to do that in a very productive way. But what you might look at, in that within our context now. And there's our thought context, collective thought context, is that what are we putting back now structurally into the mix that's going to be useful?
Structurally, the whole thing is a structure.
Well, here's what I'm saying, go to the subtext of what this thing is saying, is that it's demanding that we look at things structurally again,
Yeah.
There's that demand, and so that demand, to be contributive now, has to be new in a certain way. It can't be just drawing cartoons of thought, or cartoons of reality. It has to wrap its head around a larger
Cartesian
thing.
coordinate system. Who's mapped something into a Cartesian coordinate system?
Well, we mapped
No,
it
I'm
into
talking
continuums
about
also.
cartoons of
Well, yeah,
idea,
yeah.
cartoons of conceptualization,
That's not a
And-
cartoon, though.
The other thing is,
No,
we're
it-
not demanding anything, because
No, it-
some people can come and just see the skits or the tableaus.
Okay, that's real
Right.
postmodernist stuff. I mean, that framework of thought is like, we're all individuals and we each see what we see and blah, 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 and we all see
Yeah,
differently.
I think most postmodernism is bullshit.
Well, a lot of people do.
Coming as a scientist.
Well, a
And
lot
they-
of people,
remember the so-called hoax?
yeah.
Yeah.
But the thing is that what, in demanding structure, there has to be a reason for people to appreciate it, And then that reason is what the experience they're going to have of going through this presentation, And I think there has to be some fun out of it.
Well, that's what the
Yeah.
skits, that's what the play plays, the
Yeah,
acts
that's
are
what I'm
for.
saying, it's,
Yeah,
But I mean, what are these
People may
abstract
choose
plays
not to
where
vote
you
on
want to
them.
write a bunch of little nano plays?
yeah, that's what we're gonna
That's
do
what it
with
is.
other people.
Nanoplays, that's
Nanoplays,
good.
exactly.
or whatever
right.
they are. They don't have to be plays,
Yeah,
they can
they
be
can-
musical things or...
Nanoplays is a great term.
Yeah, nanoplays, polyaesthetic nanoplays.
There you
There's
go.
our title.
That's the title of the project.
Quantum polyaesthetic nanoplays.
Right, quantum.
Or quantal, that's like a quantal. Right. Okay, but yeah, that's the thing is, and those people who want to experience things on purely an experiential level can do so. Those who want to look at it more analytically and get pleasure out of
It's almost
understanding
more
what
fun
they're really
cutting it
looking
than
at,
it is eating.
Yeah.
then they can
Really?
do their other part of it. But that's the science part, and so, yeah, I think you're worried about a non-problem. I think it's already in,
No,
structurally,
I'm
I think it's-
experienced at something here where.
yes, I know, but I think it's already built right into it.
Well, no, what,
The question is making it interesting. I think that's the first and most
but
important thing
here,
to
Right.
do.
okay,
Yeah.
but what is interesting is what is useful, And, we have to come away with the what do you call it, exposure to this structure,
Right.
as being, now I can use this,
As a new tool.
yeah, but
I-
here's the thing is, I'm trying to get my head around this, and it's not new enough to me yet, because what you've set up is a mapping system,
Yeah.
towards one, where you want to go,
One where you want to go, what does that mean?
Yeah.
conceptual. Go to the subtext of this in terms of
What is the
I'm saying.
subtext?
Are you talking about the
The subtext of the concept.
poles of
that
the
you come up
continua?
with,
Or,
What is that
Predefined.
subtext?
That subtext is that you are trying to, what do you call it, define experience, okay, or map experience.
Map,
In-
make-
Map is
yeah.
very- map is very, yes,
Yeah,
that's
in-
actually the text, I think,
Right.
not the subtext.
In a personalized way, okay? But you're using these categories in the map, okay? Or these roads in the map that you can make many different kinds of maps than that. for.
Actually, I think Map Your Experience would be a good title for the project.
But I think also these are intended to be more or less universal. You know,
But-
I think many people would agree that these are a set of universal attributes.
No, but
and categories.
it reminds me of Maslow's, what do you call it, you know, that pyramid?
Hierarchy
Of
of
needs.
experience, yeah.
Yeah, where, and there's, artistically, you look at that thing and you go, okay, I mean, you know, is survival really a concept? You know, I mean, you question all that stuff there. And I think that you would get more interest value out of the thing if you sort of did the professorial narration with the big hat.
Well, it's very possible that there would be someone, a greeter or announcer would come out and tell people what they're going to be experiencing, what's going to happen, as well as have program notes they can read. I mean, I think that makes perfectly good sense. I don't think people can be just dumped in this thing raw.
Well, the
And
other
we never
thing-
intended to
Anytime
do
you
that.
deal with science, you have to have a background of what you're dealing with.
Yeah, but even when you go to a play, you get program notes.
Yeah.
See,
Or
the thing
music,
is,
you
I
know.
was thinking too, right now we're sort of just fluffing with the idea of live staging. We could also make this an internet event. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
We could do it that way.
or we can have
it's
a
one
co-mingle the internet event with the live event.
option. Yeah.
Well, I think doing is a live event, and then if we want to do
Be more
afterwards
fun.
an internet event, you can spin that off.
Mhm.
But, you know, I go to a few internet events,
Mhm.
and unless I am really fascinated by what's going on,
Okay, that's what there
don't
you
pay
hit the
attention
nail
to
on
it.
the head. Bingo. We
I
gotta
think,
be really
I think internet
fascinated with
events
this
are not
idea.
the most interesting thing to do. I mean, I go podcasts bore me stiff, actually. I go to webinars occasionally.
Yeah.
See, I
And
really like
interactive
that.
ones too,
that-
you know, where I can talk to
Uh-huh.
the guy talking, I can be interrupted. It's a little bit like being in a cubicle while some lecturer is talking at
How
you.
about this? You know,
So
sorry.
I think that the internet is great for documenting things,
How about,
for spreading it out, but I don't think that we should strive for an internet thing.
you know, when we were talking earlier about, you know that thing you did in New York with the
Yeah.
pieces, and we were talking about
That's
staging.
pretty much the same thing as that.
Yeah.
But we were talking about making the stage itself with the spatial dynamics. of
Yes,
this,
the
okay?
4 quadrants, we've already
Right.
got that. Yeah, or 6 actually, or 8 if we actually want to spend it either
Right, cubic.
sideways or vertically,
Right.
we can do it,
If you go to 3 dimensions, you get
yeah.
8.
You know,
Yeah.
what comes to mind when you
Yeah.
say dancers is, you know, like in the boxing matches, the nubile maiden goes by with the number 3 round, number 2 round, or, you know, she goes.
Fun, it could be hilarious.
You can do whatever you want.
You know, you can, yeah, I
We
mean, that's
get
the point.
10
that,
girls from Victoria's Secret to go, we're moving this.
Yeah,
way."
that's fun.
Yeah.
Up there in porn in the upper left hand, upper right hand
Yeah,
corner, right,
here's what I think.
straddling the,
Back to Maslow, I think that people are probably more interested in a peak experience than a peak experience.
Even when you were talking about up in the corner and stuff, you could have stages where things are happening all the time,
Well,
all over this
yeah,
thing.
it's hard to, I was thinking you could almost turn it up vertically and have a multi-level stage and just, you know, light up certain sections of it when things happen.
Right.
That'd
Things
be
can be
better
happening at the
that'd be-
same time.
That if we can't get an arena. I was thinking maybe like the atrium of a building, and just put chairs on each floor and looking right down.
That's a really
I
cool
went to
idea.
a Stockhausen performance, done just the reverse of that. We were all on the ground floor, and they had the orchestra and soloists at various levels.
Wow.
And speakers, of course. You'd have a sound that starts up there and
That was
some guy gets there and starts babbling in German about the star Sirius as the center thing of the
Oh,
the
yeah.
universe. I mean, it's complete bullshit. But and the worst wine I've ever drunk. Apparently, they sit out on the loading dock in the Texas sun for about a month.
Oh, boy.
This is the worst share I've ever had. It's a German white wine. Recently it had been completely matterized. But didn't.
You know, as,
So that's another way that we could do it now, but I think we're probably going to do it in a regular stage.
you know, at Cirque du Soleil, they have a $200 million stage on hydraulics.
Yeah, we don't have that money
It's,
though.
but the cool thing about it is it goes, you know, here's the stage,
Yeah,
and it goes up like this
yeah.
with poles, and then it makes you look like you're in an airplane looking
Yeah.
down at the ground
Oh, yeah.
with the people going up the poles and stuff. And
Yeah.
it's a nice illusion, but you don't have to have a $2 million, $200 million stage
Well,
to do that.
you know, once we
Yeah.
get a schema worked out, and some people are willing to do the acts, you stage it. Okay,
Well,
you guys do the music.
Right.
We'll do the conceptual stuff, and
Well, let's
you
do
do
this.
the staging.
Let me think, if you don't mind, for a day or two on
Okay,
this thing,
okay.
and figure out. I've got some ideas for nanoplays actually.
Good, good,
We're
good.
talking about
Because
that,
we'll need a dozen or so probably.
But when we get, if this were to be accepted,
Yeah.
then we would get an influx of people.
people,
Yeah.
yeah.
Right.
Also, we just have to have a plausible project. We don't have to have a final. We don't have to.
And I think-
we don't have to have all the nanoplays and the stages on.
No, just
Yeah,
just
Just the concept?
And if I
Okay,
if I
we
put
don't
the
have
other
to
one,
have
I'll
that
just go ahead and
No,
start writing.
okay.
Well, they want an awful lot of detail.
I saw that, yeah.
You can't get it in 2 pages though.
I mean, the whole thing is schedule. That's going to be
Well, okay, this thing has to be done by what, 18 months?
something like that.
So the first month we do so. I mean,
I'm gonna write up that macro project too.
I mean, you're not going to be. Go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
just
you're
write
not
it.
you're not bound by it.
Write it up. Sure.
And a budget, it's going to be tentative, but I think they understand that. It just has to be plausible.
Need about 500 grand.
Just the start.
Methodology of
No, I think we should
recording
go
the
for a
creative
$200 million
process.
stage. That's what
Yeah,
my
me
God.
too.
Yeah, we're doing that with this.
Yeah.
And then after we get the money, if we decide that we don't need that kind of a stage after all, we'll find other
We can
uses
go to
for
Brazil.
that money.
Right. We'll stage it in Rio de Janeiro
Right.
in Carnival next year.
Right,
Yeah.
This is going on right
With
now.
some
Yeah, no,
decent
well, we have
Shiraz.
18 months.
I think we'd have lots of girls for parts of the experience too.
Well, I should get back soon.
Okay.
All right.
Well, that's what I could, okay, that's 8:30.
Yeah.
Well, this has already been illuminating, enjoyable.
Sure
Yeah,
is.
enjoyable, as always.
Yeah, a little alcohol helps, but,
That's all we had is a little.
I wasn't as illuminated as you were.
that's your problem, you don't drink. Yeah.
Look at the problem you had cutting that piece of
Yeah,
cheese.
right.
That was the visceral part of it.
Now you got boil wormed into my brain. I'm gonna think of boil.
Well, I
Big boil.
Oh,
have a friend with OCD, and,
Yeah.
and she washes her hands for 4 hours a day. And I was thinking about us, how we were
Oh,
all
cup of
over that
cheese.
cheese. We've been basically licking each other's fingers.
right, yeah.
Oh, boy.
So where does that fall in the,
The aesthetics of licking each other's fingers.
the aesthetics of cheese slicing?
It's not tactile.
Gene
Well, we're
slicing.
going to talk about
So certainly has a physical
was
and
it-
scientific aspect
did we-
as well.
I
as
think
far
it's
Was
as-
there
very
anything
political.
thinking?
This is
going on?
germ
There
slicing.
was no thinking involved.
I thought
There
it was
was no
very.
beauty in the thinking.
I think on this cheese there was
Yeah,
some
you
thinking
have a
involved.
technique.
You had us
Yeah,
great
yeah.
Jonathan, too.
You did come up with a technique,
It's been good to talk to you again.
There was some thinking
Yeah,
involved.
yeah.
All right, guys. The meeting stands adjourned.
Okay.
Or-
And by the way,
A germ
a screwdriver
cheese.
very definitely does give someone personal power.
Oh, yeah.
Which
You
does?
left that blank.
That's true, but
A
it
screwdriver
wasn't.
gives you personal
It
power.
was.
It
it's
sure
true.
does.
It does.
Especially if you're in Britain.
My brother-in-law, I had the Porsche 1948 Porsche in there. And he
Yeah.
said, "You didn't put anything for sexy on that."
Yeah?
Ah, there you
You're
go.
right.
Well, that's what I think it's kind of interesting to see what the audience thinks of it.
Is that one of
Yeah.
those bathtub?
For one thing, is the big
Yeah, the little bugs.
First one.
Because we'll obviously have an idea.
It looked like
And we
cockroaches.
choose the
Yeah.
nano.
Yeah.
And then to see if the audience agrees. Here, don't forget this.
All right.
You know, that's why I like the idea of showing all the individual points first before you average it all out.
Yeah. Well, I can let it just build up, over a few seconds. It just, the colors build up and you see
That'd be
the
a good
point.
idea, yeah.
I mean,
Who wants to be a millionaire?
Do we know when we're gonna meet next?
Monday nights are good for me.
Is there the
Monday's
rest?
okay for me.
It
Yeah.
seems like Monday works for
I think I've
everybody,
got one
maybe.
more Monday I can do before I have to rehearse.
All right, well, let's meet next Monday then.
Let me,
Then we
let me
don't
check
have
my
to
schedule, but I think I can do it.
Voraciously.
You know, it comes to
Only if
mind
you can't
also-
make it, then,
You know those, what are they called?
post it on the
Parcheesi
board.
machines?
Okay,
That Japanese thing that has all the balls that go down and around. Is it Parcheesi?
Yeah, no, you know,
Pachinko.
Pachinko.
Pachinko, yeah.
With the little nails and they
Yeah.
bounce off the nails.
If those diagrams were like pachinko, big huge pachinko diagrams, and all the things went, you know what I mean?
Yeah, you see those also to demonstrate Gaussian distribution.
you have a huge
Gargantuan.
magnet that would make them all go.
Where you wanted,
One way
where
or
we
another.
wanted them, yeah.
Anyway, well, Monday.
Yeah, let me check my schedule. I think next Monday.
All right, well, just
We're
if
gonna talk
there's
in
a
the meantime
problem, then
anyway,
post it
yeah.
on the board.
Yeah, because one of these times after, we get close to March,
Yeah.
I'm gonna get, the first 2 weeks of March, I'm gonna be busy,
All right.
All right, so we have to go.
we generally, we perform Friday, Saturday.
Good evening.
Friday.
We do
And
rehearsals
you.
Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday.
Oh.
So Thursday and Friday,